new dawn. The film opens with a majestic sunrise over Pride Rock, echoing the original movie's opening. We see Kiara and Kovu now ruling the Pride Lands as queen and king, while an elderly Simba and Nala watch proudly from the background. Animals from all corners gather as Ammani, their curious and energetic daughter, is presented to the kingdom. The circle of life plays softly in the background, symbolizing legacy and hope. Restless air. Ammani grows into a bold and intelligent young lioness, but unlike her royal ancestors, she questions the purpose of tradition and duty. She feels confined by expectations and bored by daily lessons about leadership and history. She sneaks out often, exploring the wild, yearning for a life of adventure, not responsibility. The return of Zira's shadow. In the outlands, a dark lion named Mosi rises. Scar's blood flows in his veins. He is Zira's secret secondborn, hidden during the events of The Lion King 2. Fueled by vengeance and convinced that Scar's legacy was robbed, Mosi begins to gather rogues, exiles, and hyenas to reclaim the Pride Lands. Council of the Pride. Simba senses a dark disturbance. He calls a council with Rafiki, Timon, Pumbaa, Kiara, and Kovu. Rafiki shares a chilling prophecy from the stars. When lion bloodline splits, and the moon turns red, fire and pride shall collide. The pride must prepare for the worst, but Ammani doesn't take it seriously. The forbidden journey. Fed up with being scolded and lectured, Ammani sneaks away from the Pride Lands with her best friend Tycho, a clever meerkat, and Zazu Jr., the bumbling but brave son of Zazu. They journey across dangerous lands beyond the known territory in search of answers and freedom. The ghost of the past. In a dark jungle, Ammani becomes separated from her friends and ends up in a cave where the wind whispers. A smoky vision of Scar appears, manipulating her, questioning her loyalty to the Pride Lands, tempting her with power and rebellion. She escapes, shaken but confused about her identity. Mosi's invasion plan. Mosi launches attacks on nearby tribes, absorbing smaller lion clans and scavenger groups. He declares himself the true king and claims that Simba's lineage is weak and undeserving. Mosi sends a raven to Pride Rock with a threat: surrender or burn. Kiara's burden. Kiara, now queen, tries to maintain peace but faces political pressure. The lionesses worry about Ammani's disappearance. Kovu wants to hunt down Mosi, but Kiara fears war. Rafiki urges her to trust fate and believe in her daughter. Kiara breaks down, missing Simba's wisdom. The Lost Kingdom. Ammani and her friends stumble upon the ruins of a lost lion kingdom, said to be the birthplace of the first Lion King. The walls are covered in ancient paintings showing tales of unity, sacrifice, and leadership. Ammani realizes that true royalty is earned through humility, not blood. First battle. Mosi's army crosses into the Pride Lands. Kovu leads the defense but is surprised by Mosi's numbers and tactics. Several lion guards fall and the borders are lost. Mosi lets them live as a message. The real battle is coming. Rafiki's revelation. Rafiki has a vision during meditation. He sees Scar's line, twisted by hate, clashing with Mufasa's. But then, he sees a lion born of both worlds, neither light nor dark, who brings harmony. He realizes Ammani, raised with compassion but forged through hardship, is the key, the hero's decision. Back in the Lost Kingdom, Ammani stands under the stars. Mufasa's spirit visits her, as he once did with Simba. He tells her she is more than she believes. She must choose freedom or legacy. Ammani finds her courage and decides to return and fight for her pride. The Gathering Storm. Ammani returns to the Pride Lands. Her home is broken, hope fading, but her return inspires the pride. Kiara embraces her tearfully. With a new army of unlikely allies from the Lost Lands, Ammani begins to plan the counterattack with her mother and father. The Blood Moon. As the prophecy foretold, the night of the Blood Moon arrives. Mosi steps forward and calls out Kovu for a one-on-one battle for the throne. Kiara tries to stop it, but Kovu insists. The duel is brutal. Kovu is wounded, and Mosi declares himself king. Battle for Pride Rock. The full battle erupts. Animals of all kinds clash. Elephants charge into jackals, hyenas surround the lionesses, and the pride fights for survival. Rafiki uses fire to cut off Mosi's reinforcements. Amid the chaos, Pride Rock begins to crumble. Ammani versus Mosi. Ammani finds Mosi on the peak of Pride Rock. Their fight is fierce. Mosi taunts her, calls her a fake ruler, a child of weakness. But Ammani channels her inner strength, not to kill, but to stand her ground with courage. She defeats Mosi but shows mercy, exiling him forever. The fall of the shadow. As Mosi retreats into the dark, his army collapses without leadership. The remaining hyenas and rogues flee. Rafiki declares that the darkness has passed. Peace slowly begins to return to the land, and the circle of life is restored. The farewell. Simba, having watched everything from the sidelines, lies down under a tree one last time. Surrounded by Nala and the Pride, he peacefully passes away. That night, Ammani sees both Simba and Mufasa in the stars. "You are ready," Simba says with pride. Coronation of Ammani. In a glorious ceremony, Ammani is crowned queen. Kiara and Kovu step aside, proud of her transformation. The animals roar in joy. Timon and Pumbaa cry, watching the little cub grow into a majestic ruler. Rafiki marks her with the royal paint, a roar for the future. The movie ends with a final sunrise. Ammani and her mate, a noble lion introduced subtly earlier, present their newborn cub. Rafiki lifts the baby as the animals cheer. A new generation begins, and the circle of life continues stronger than ever.